we came to learn through the evidence that he was probably having a freak-off in the hotel where he was staying the night of his arrest.
Rapper P. Diddy's going to learn his fate this Friday. And he wants time served, that he should go free. Prosecutors want him to spend another 11 years behind bars. I caught up with ABC's Aaron Katersky at CrimeCon, and he covered the Sean Combs trial from start to finish. And that's the one where freak-off became a household word. Let's dive in. Aaron, talk to me about this Diddy trial.
It was just an extraordinary couple of months, really, from start to finish.
Yeah, I want to know everything.
Because, well, it wasn't...
Except for the really messed up.
I know, we can't even talk about it.
Right? I'm like, how do we navigate that? But go ahead.
In the panel, people were like, what did you not say on TV?
What did I say?
The testimony was so wrenching.
Yeah.
The scene outside was so intense.
Right.
The passions on both sides. And then, of course, the outcome was so controversial. And he still has to be sentenced. So there's more to come.
There really is. There really is. But going through that every day, I just want to talk to you about, how many trials have you literally been front and center every day, getting in there, waiting in those, or not waiting in those lines? I want to talk about it all. Tell me, what was it like kind of navigating a trial with that level of intensity?
Yeah, I do court all the time.
Okay.
But this was unique because of the characters. That court. I'm in that courthouse every day, every week, but this brought out a whole different kind of individual and a whole different kind of reporter. Traditional influencers, bloggers, video bloggers, podcasters, people who just wanted to tell the world what was happening because he's such a unique criminal defendant.
Right.
And you're in line with his mom and his kids, and then the witnesses, some famous, some not.
Yeah, it's completely.
And
how weird.
How just surreal some of those moments were when Kid Cudi sat down to testify, after smoking whatever he was smoking and putting it out right before he walks through security, or Kanye West showing up bizarrely for 20 minutes, just all those things. And you're like, this was a trial.
I mean, it's a trial. When you realized what you were getting into with this particular one, when was it? When did you realize that this was going to trial?
Well, the night he was arrested was... we anticipated his arrest, and I think initially federal prosecutors didn't think it would be as circus-like as it turned out to be.
Why? Why did they think that?
They thought, washed up rapper, has been yesterday's news, no one's going to care. And how wrong
could you be?
How wrong they were.
Right.
And the case itself began with a lawsuit. It began with Cassie Ventura's civil lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
Drew the attention of the Southern District of New York. And I think people had a great expectation that this was finally going to reveal all of the whispered secrets about Sean Combs, his relationship with Justin Bieber and Usher and Jay-Z and all these famous people.
Those pictures, I remember that picture.
Pictures at the white parties, who are all these people and what's going on behind the scenes that everybody wanted to peek into. And in the end, the case was, as expensive as the charges were, the case was very small, focused on what happened to a few different women.
Yeah.
And the supporting players that were brought to buttress their testimony. And in the end, we saw the jury didn't buy most of it.
I mean, it's amazing, right?
It was on video. Some of the...
That's what I want to talk about just first. That haunts me. When did you first see that and know that y'all were going to have to deal with this as part of the story?
Well, I saw it like everybody else when CNN obtained it and put it on TV. And then it quickly became clear it would be a central focus of the case, because to prosecutors, that was
the smoking gun.
It was, in a way, it was evidence of Sean Combs' capabilities, what he was doing to an intimate partner, and it kept playing in court over and over. And even the defense ended up playing it as if to say, we get it, he's violent, but he's not a sex trafficker. Or he's a bad guy, but he's not a racketeer. And the defense seemingly had success with that argument to say, okay, he's a jerk, but he's not the kind of individual that's being charged by federal prosecutors.
One thing from living the Murdaugh story was that there's so much that cannot be on the record, right, with the jury. But you were there.
Yeah. Except in one instance, the jury saw more than we did, and that is the video that the judge ruled the public could not see of what went on in these freak-offs. And the jury got snippets of video that the public, and we asked to have a...
Like, just let us see it.
Just let us see it to see what we're dealing with. But outside the jury's presence, I think there was a lot of effort to control Sean Combs. There was a point where the judge admonished him for trying to make eye contact with the jury, to influence how the jury was consuming the testimony. And that reflected a very active defendant. Gestures, writing notes, taking, almost giving instructions to his attorneys for how to argue, what to argue, when to object. And you could see him frequently shaking his head if he didn't like something or disagreeing with testimony, as if to say that's not how it happened. And that was another thing that without cameras in federal court, people couldn't see, was just how the defendant himself was such an active part of the case.
What did you think of him?
Well, I remember when he first walked in after he was arrested for his initial appearance, and he was bloated and his eyes were sunken, and he looked terrible. But we came to learn through the evidence that he was probably having a freak-off in the hotel where he was staying the night of his arrest, or at least the evidence of one was there, the drugs, the other paraphernalia. But then when we saw him, there was no more hair dye. He lost a ton of weight, and I think when it was time for the verdict, he was very, very nervous. His leg was moving, and he was, I think, anticipating that he was going to be found guilty of a lot more than he was found guilty of.
And just now, the jury has decided that Sean Combs is not guilty of sex trafficking his former girlfriend, who testified under the pseudonym Jane.
I mean, it was, and I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people thought that he was going to get more thrown at him, but those are really hard charges, aren't they?
The case became complicated because federal prosecutors charged Sean Combs like a mafia family using the RICO statute. Yeah. And the defense successfully argued that he may be a lot of things, but he was not a leader of a criminal enterprise the way prosecutors laid it out. And then the sex trafficking, I think, was the most surprising counts of which he was acquitted, because especially Cassie, there was video, there were 4 days of impassioned, anguished, emotional testimony, most of which we couldn't write about. It was so graphic. We learned things about Sean Combs's sex life that I'm not sure anybody really was interested in hearing about.
Don't really want to know.
Didn't want to know.
Yep.
And to prosecutors, it all added up one way, and the jury didn't buy it for whatever reason.
Gosh, you think you're ever gonna have a case like this? Is this unique, unprecedented? We use those words a bit.
Well, I think it's a real test, because the verdict said a lot of things to a lot of different people. One of the things that I heard, because milling outside the courthouse was Harvey Weinstein's attorney, Arthur Aidala. Weinstein was in, a block down at a different courthouse. And so the verdict,
lineup.
Well, the verdict raised questions, I think, about how these cases are charged, whether celebrities can be brought to justice, whether prosecutors are overcharging.
Because of who he is?
Because of who he is,
Okay.
or because of how they see something. I think there were generational differences at work, gender differences.
Like prosecutors going, I don't know what that is.
Well, all the prosecutors were younger women. The jury was made up of older men in large part. And I think there was people can see things differently, and that was evident. But the staying power of Me Too, the reckoning that some people may have been hoping for, and whether that's possible, the power of celebrity to get through a case like this. I mean, it touched a lot of hot buttons, and I think that is reflected in why people found it so interesting.
People ask me about being in court, sitting through all of these things. Why do you like it?
Well, everything is its own mini community with its own characters, in its own dramas, in its own laughter. I will not soon forget the male escort known as the Punisher, who used his testimony to promote a book he wrote about freezer meat, because what's harder than freezer meat, and his problems with erectile dysfunction.
Oh my God.
And so every trial, is its own entity. The people you stand in line with, and the witness list become characters, and so you're living in your own world.
Totally.
For, in this case, 2 months.
You
It's
did a
fascinating.
fantastic job.
Well,
I watched you.
Thanks.
I am a, I have a very soft spot for ABC News, but I watched your coverage. It was brilliant. I was floored at how you could walk the line and be like, David, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. We're not talking about this, but we're going to talk about that.
There were a couple of lines where I remember tagging out with, and then Cassie said this. David, you take it. I can't say anymore.
Sorry.
But
what's the rim saying at that point?
yeah, the
They're all like, do we go there or do we just stop there? And when I say the rim, I mean like the people that were helping of construct the final scripts and stories.
Yeah, because my reporting notes that went to the news division contained everything.
Sure.
There were phrases I wrote in email.
Did they let you do transcription in there, or did they say you had to it was handwritten everything, like paper and pen?
In the courtroom, paper and pen.
Okay.
In other parts of the courthouse, you can use computers.
Okay.
But I would
you had like a
send
media overflow room.
notes that the news division would read, and people were clutching pearls, or I don't know. There was graphic, very detailed, very disturbing stuff, and the challenge, I think, for the Rim and the producers was how are we going to give this a fair airing without going overboard on what you can actually say on TV.
If the world's not hearing how terrible or bad or whatever you want to call it, or just insane, like some of the stuff, how can we, our court of public opinion was getting kind of like one side, but did you find other journalists were able to just they just said whatever? I mean, some of the ones that are from like more of a different, they have a different outlet.
Certainly some of the ones who are not beholden to the kind of
strict
standards and practices that we are. And in some cases, that's what made it, I think, so interesting to have all the podcasters or the influencers talking about it, because it was a kind of unvarnished, and we are sanitizing things that, rightly so, for the benefit of the audience.
Sure.
But if you wanted all of the
gory details,
graphic, and it was out there.
What are you doing next?
There's so many cases. The Diddy case is going to influence how the Alexander brothers go on trial.
Okay, yeah.
The real estate brothers.
I'm watching that.
I think prosecutors, same office in the Southern District of New York, learned they are going to have to truncate a sex crimes case because 6 weeks of evidence, I think, was too much for the jury to have in their head the message they were supposed to get from opening statements to carry through to the end.
Great point. They were almost desensitized probably by the end of it.
It may be. That may be part of it.
Yeah.
That it didn't look so horrible after.
No, you say it
hearing
enough.
Yeah.
It goes away.
And which may have been part of a defense strategy. So that will have an immediate impact. And then, Luigi Mangione will be in court soon, and we'll have both a federal and a state prosecution. And
That is extraordinary.
and that's going to be an extraordinary one. So we'll be right back in the courthouse.
It was so good to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
It was great to talk to Aaron. I expect he'll be at the sentencing, and Criminally Obsessed is going to be bringing you the latest as well. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what do you think Diddy's sentence should be? Or should he be getting one at all? Be sure to like and subscribe to Criminally Obsessed, because we're going to be having a lot more great conversations about the stories you want to know everything about coming your way.